Hi, this is Tim.
It's Kamala Harris. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Madam Vice President.
Listen, I want you to do this with me. Let's do this together. Would you be my running mate and let's get this thing on the road?
I would be honored, Madam Vice President.
The joy that you're bringing back to the country, the enthusiasm that's out there, it'll be a privilege to take this with you across the country.
Kamala Harris had 16 days to pick her running mate, and she went for a dark horse, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The newly minted Democratic ticket then made their debut at a rally in Philadelphia.
And now, welcome the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz.
Thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, Madam Vice President, for the trust you put in me, but maybe more so, thank you for bringing back the joy.
In 60-year-old Walz, the Harris campaign is hoping to tap into midwestern voters. His background of being a school teacher, a football coach, and an Army National Guard enlisted soldier spells meat and potatoes Middle America. While Minnesota itself is not a battleground state, Harris is hoping that Walz has Midwestern appeal in places like Wisconsin and Michigan, which will ultimately help decide this election.
Tim Walz was the kind of teacher and mentor that every child in America dreams of having, and that every kid deserves. The kind of coach, because he's the kind of person who makes people feel like they belong and then inspires them to dream big. And that's the kind of vice president he will be. And that's the kind of vice president America deserves.
Walz recounted his own small-town roots and his career to draw a contrast with Donald Trump.
Donald Trump sees the world a little differently than us. First of all, he doesn't know the first thing about service. He doesn't have time for it because he's too busy serving himself. Again and again and again, Trump weakens our economy to strengthen his own hand. He mocks our laws, he sows chaos and division, and that's to say nothing of his record as president. He froze in the face of the COVID crisis. He drove our economy into the ground, and make no mistake, violent crime was up under Donald Trump. That's not even counting the crimes he committed.
He also took a jab at Republicans on one of the most contentious issues this election, abortion.
Some of us in here are old enough to remember. I see you down there. I see those old white guys. Some of us are old enough to remember when it was Republicans who were talking about freedom. It turns out now what they meant was the government should be free to invade your doctor's office. In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and their personal choices that they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choice for ourselves, there's a golden rule. Mind your own damn business.
And he got a huge round of applause when he invoked a viral attack line that caught the eye of the Harris campaign.
You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see. So you know what's out there, so say it with me. We aren't going back. We're going back.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro was the warm-up act for the Harris-Walz joint rally. He received a hero's welcome, which was a reminder to what Harris had passed over in picking Walz. Shapiro is a popular and polished politician from the most important state on the electoral map.
I love you, Philly!
But his criticism of pro-Palestinian protesters and support for using public funds for private schools prompted objections from key parts of the Democratic base. So Walz was a safer pick than the Pennsylvania governor.
I am going to continue to pour my heart and soul into serving you every single day as your governor. And I'm going to be working my tail off to make sure we make Kamala Harris and Tim Walz the next leaders of the United States of America.
The Trump campaign has already branded Walz as a dangerously liberal extremist and a far-left lunatic. They point to his record in Minnesota of enacting left-wing social programs and accuse him of not doing enough to control the demonstrations that broke out after the death of George Floyd at the hands of the Minneapolis police officers in 2020.
Tim Walz's record is a joke. He's been one of the most far-left radicals in the entire United States government at any level. But I think that what Tim Walz's selection says is that Kamala Harris has bent the knee to the far left of her party, which is what she always does.
Pennsylvania is a must-win state for Harris, and Governor Shapiro holds more than a 60% favorable rating. On the other hand, Walz is unlikely to help Harris with many swing voters. He did less than a point better than Biden in Minnesota when he won re-election in 2022. So it remains to be seen whether he can help the Democratic ticket outside his home state.